Okay, so for our presentation, the our next topic will be on ransomware this time. So another friend from flying all the way from Korea as well. Our next speaker, she analyzes cybercrime at SK Shieldus Ransomware Response Center, where she meticulously investigates and tracks cyber threats. Her expertise spans not only researching ransomware but also exploring the complexities of the deep and dark web. Driven by her passion for cybersecurity, she finds great satisfaction in identifying emerging threats, contributing to the safety of her community. She also regularly participates in CTF competitions to hone her analytical skills and deepen her expertise in the field. So obviously we welcome our speaker, Yuna Lee.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Great to see you this afternoon. It's hard to believe it's already the last day of RootCon. This is my first time of RootCon, and I'm really glad to be here and to see so many of you in this session. Today, I will talk about ransomware, how attackers evolve, and the strategies they use, and what defenses we can build. But first, let me briefly introduce myself. I'm Hyuna Lee, a threat intelligence researcher at SK Shieldus in ICU's team. I focus on tracking the ransomware ecosystem, following attacker infrastructure, tracing malware distribution, and monitoring dark web activity to understand who's behind this campaign. Today, I'll go beyond single ransomware families. I'll work through attacker strategies and show how we hunt and link activity and share practical steps teams can use to defend more effectively. Next, let me briefly introduce my team. I work with EQS, the experts qualified security team at SK Shieldus in Korea. We research and respond to a wide range of cyber threats, focusing on three areas. First, research. We publish reports on ransomware and vulnerabilities, including the quarterly ransomware reports that I contribute to. And we are closely tracking ransomware groups that attack the US and South Korea, especially those linked to North Korea, together with Korean government. Second, conferences. Oh, sorry. This year, we joined at LootCon and also delivered training at DEFCON and Black Hat USA on Chrome V8 bug hunting. Third, CTF competitions. We both joined and hosted events, and most recently took second place into Microsoft CTF on AI and LLM attack scenarios. Uh, I think maybe my intro went a bit long, so let's move on the main discussions. Over the past few years, the ransomware ecosystem has shifted fast. For example, big names like Conti and Lockbit once dominated, but that's no longer the case. Now we see smaller groups that move quickly and burn out just as fast. They hit hard, then shut down or rebrand within weeks. It's all about speed games, quick wins, and short-term profit. In today's talk, I explore that this shift is happening and how this new threat players adapt to survive. Let's step back and see when ransomware became a major threat. The form we know today took shape around 2016 and 2017. The WannaCry ransomware in 2017 and Petya ransomware in 2016 made global headlines. The idea of structured ransomware groups only started about maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Yet in that short time, the ecosystem has been shaken again and again. On this graph, the bar shows groups that disappeared within 12 months, and the line shows their average for lifespan. Comparing 2020 versus 2025, the difference is very striking. In the early days, many groups lasted over a year. Now, more than half vanish in under 12 months. This situation tells us the dominant strategies today is short, fast, low risk, grab the money, and disappear. So then the big question is, why has the ecosystem shifted this way? I think the main reason is stronger law enforcement. The high-profile ransomware damage pushed agencies to act. For example, in Operation Kronos, 10 countries seized lockbit servers, arrested operators, and froze cryptocurrency accounts. After that, lockbit's activity dropped sharply. Their claim to relaunch as version 5, but produced almost no new victim posts, and only leaked panel is circulating in online. The next example is Operation Endgames. This operation targeted delivery tools, not the ransomware itself. It dismantled loader and dropper infrastructure used by smoke loader, bumblebee, and the other many things, and saved over $25 million. In short, these operations blocked attackers from the tools they rely on to deliver ransomware. I just earlier mentioned law enforcement pressure, but another case exists. For example, internal conflict can be just as destructive. Take Black Cat ransomware, aka Black Matters, Alpha 5, and more. They grew from DarkSide and Black Matter, hit over 700 victims, and made tens of millions. But affiliates complained about missing payments. A fake Sager banner is appeared, and most believed the operators pulled an Axis scam. And another case is Mogilevich. In 2024, they claimed huge breaches like Epic Games, but no proof is ever surfaced. They were really selling fake panel access for about $1,000 each, getting tens of thousands. The point is very clear. Even big groups can collapse from the inside, and fake threats can still cause harm. As the big groups collapsed and the paradigm is shifted, a new pattern is emerging. The younger groups appear and disappear much faster than older groups, and that is reshaping the ecosystem. On the screen, you can see a graph comparing 2024 versus 2025 activity for ransomware, broken down by quarter. In every quarter, this year's numbers are higher than last year. That means not only are more groups showing up and vanishing quickly, but their activity is more intense. The key takeaways: today's ransomware is no longer ruled by wrong learning, well-organized groups. It's being refined by lightweight outfits, tracing short-term survivor and quick payouts. And the shift has serious implication for defense. We need to move from the battling entrenched attackers to keeping up with a faster, more volatile ecosystem. This slide shows how ransomware groups adapt under pressure by rebranding and coming back with new strategies. Let me walk you through two quick examples. The first thing is the path from Xeon to Blacksuit. They started as Xeon in early 2022 with simple ops and Python malware. Later that year, they rebranded as Royer, adopted double extortion, and even hit the city of Dallas in US. After that attack, activity was dropped, but they came back as Blacksuit in 2023, and more refined tactics and even drew law enforcement attention. The second example is the path from Hive to World Leaks. The Hive group appeared in 2021 using multi-extortion and shifting from Go to Rust. They demanded up to $100 million before law enforcement took them down in 2023. Then came Hunters International Group with 1,200 attacks before shutting down. By 2025, they re-emerged as World Leaks Group, dropped ransomware completely, and focused only on data thief and extortion. Then profit actually grew by 41%. What this story shows is the ecosystem isn't just group dying off. It's a constant cycle of rebranding and shifting tactics. And if we want to stay ahead, we have to understand those transitions. On this slide, I want to show how ransomware groups changing their playbook with ransomware as a service and a division of labor. Back in the old days, one attacker might do it all: build malware, get access, encrypt files, and talk to victims. But now, those roles are split to move faster and cut risk. At the center, you can see core developers who build or maintain and ransomware, and separate from of them, web developers and designers run leak sites. and damage the public faces. The core team signed contracts with affiliate networks who handle attack and share profit. The intruders just focus on breaking in and just running the malware. Initial access brokers sell footholds like LDP, SSH, and VPN access, or exploited vulnerabilities. The attacker buy those footholds, move inside networks, and steal data. Next, dropping malware. After the payout, the money is split among intruders, managers, and the IABs. This model makes attack faster, scalable, and easy to join. Even someone with no real skills can buy access and join the game. The result is more groups popping up quickly and ransomware spreading more wider. The damage of ransomware keeps going up, but the ransom payments rates keeping dropping. More companies refuse to pay because security is better and backup service and recovery are stronger. To adapt, attackers change the model. Instead of just encryption, they steal sensitive data and threatening to leak it. So the impact is not only financial, it's reputation, legal risk, and trust. On the left, you can see a graph of payments from 2020 to 2024. In 2020, payments went up, but since then, they dropped each year. But by 2024, rates were down 35%. On the right graph, you can see payments activity versus data leaks in 2024. The payments kept falling, but leakage kept rising. This shows attackers are moving away from pure encryption and leaning on extortion through leaks. The key point, the ransomware is not just malware. It is a business model, and that keeps evolving. For defenders, this means strategies must go beyond the restore and include data leakage response and legal planning or reputation defense. As ransomware payment slates keep falling, ransomware operators are moving away from classic encryption-first attacks and shifting towards data leaks extortion as their main business model. Some groups have gone even further and dropped encryption altogether, using stolen data alone to pressure victims into paying. That makes the extortion tactics more sophisticated and more dangerous for victims. Take Bianlian case, for example. Through 2022 and 2023, they used a double extortion approach and combining encryption and data thief. After 2023, they started to reduce the role of encryption and put more emphasis on data leakage. By 2024, they had largely moved a model that relies on leaking data without ever encrypting victims' file. Next, Club shows a similar pattern. Since 2019, they ran double extortion. But from 2021 onward, they began skip or minimize encryption and threat data leakage as the primary revenue stream. The Club ransomware group also leans heavily on large-scale exploitation of vulnerabilities to expand their target set, favoring mass harvesting over carefully targeted intrusions. This slide compares how long ransomware groups stay active after they first appear, focusing on those that shut down within 12 months. Each full curve represents one group, with the peak showing when the group was active from the start to the end its operation. What really stands out is the red dot line, which shows the average lifespan across all groups. You can see a lot of groups and far sooner than average. That pattern show suggests a deliberate survival strategy. Instead of building a long-lived organization, many actors run just a few campaigns and then disappear quickly to avoid detection or prosecution. In short, we are seeing a shift toward fast, low-profile operators that prioritize short-term gains and operation security over long-term presence. The MITRE attack models attackers' behavior across 3 layers that called tactics, techniques, and procedures, which we unusually shorten to TTPS. The tactics are the goals behind an action, things like privilege escalation or defense evasion that describe what the attacker's trying to achieve. The techniques describe how the attacker tries to reach those goals, the concrete method they use. The procedures are the real-world implementation of those techniques, the specific steps and tools an attacker actually uses in an operation. One of the strengths of this framework is that for each technique, it also provides guidance and detection or mitigation that help us not only understand attacker strategies more clearly, but also design targeted defensive measures. In practical, the attack framework is very useful beyond just technical controls. Then we can use it to profile attackers and to identify patterns for attackers across incidents. So in this session, we'll use MITRE ATT&CK to dissect ransomware actor behavior and go through which techniques are most commonly used at each stage of an attack. This slide shows the ransomware attacks for mapping to MITRE ATT&CK. And ransomware attacks are not just file encryption. They are a chain of tactics from initial access to spread, data thief, and finally destruction. The first stage is initial access. The attackers get in with stolen or weak accounts, known vulnerabilities, or by purchase access from brokers. The next step is execution. They learn code with PowerShell or CMD and scripts, often reusing pentest tools. Then privilege escalation. They grab higher rights by abusing software flows, DLLs, or bypassing security checks. The next step is defense evasion. The defense evasion comes after. They disable protection, use packer or valid signatures to stay hidden. Credential access means stealing secrets, dumping sensitive process, using stealers, or harvesting scripts to grab accounts. With that, they move to lateral movement, crossing the network via file shares and remote tools or built-in mechanisms. The command and controls keeps them in charge. They connect back to servers through web traffic proxies or layered infrastructure. So finally, the impact stage, encrypting data, wiping backup, shutting down recovery, and causing damage. Across all stages, attackers reuse common tools. Mapping these steps to MITRE ATT&CK shows where to detect and what to define first. This slide shows common ransomware tactics mapped to MITRE ATT&CK. By tracking each stage, we can plan better detection and defense. The attackers start with initial access through phishing and stolen data or unpatched flows. Next step is execution, running tools and payloads inside the network. Then privilege escalation, defense evasion, and credential access to gain admin's rights and steal secrets. They move laterally, using remote services or file shares, turning one host into many. They set up command and control to upload tools, exfiltrate data, and stay connected. Finally comes impact, deleting backups, encrypting files, and demanding payments. Mapping to attack framework makes the attacker's flow clear and help us detect and disruption the chain at multiple points. For this next part, I want to share a real malware ransomware case I analyzed. The first thing I noticed was that the attackers already had a VPN account before starting. In attack framework terms, that maps to resource development. They used that account for initial access, which made it look like a normal user login, not a phishing or exploit. That's what made detection tricky. Once inside, I observed execution through native Windows tools like PowerShell or CMD to launch the payloads. Then came privilege escalation and discovery. I saw them run Mimikatz dump multiple credentials and even create golden tickets. System logs showed me a ticket material being forged, which gave them domain admin level access. With the control, they move laterally using networking tool. Giving their privilege, they spread across critical servers very quickly. Finally, the impact phase. The malloc payload was deployed to multiple servers, encrypting files, wiping backup service, and disabling recovery features. This was the moment defenders realized the attack was underway. By mapping the case to attack framework, I could pinpoint key gaps. In particular, monitoring on user VPN logins, on user PowerShell or WMI activity, and traces of credential dumping or forged tickets, a high-value detection we should prioritize. Then, now that we've seen attacker strategies, let's talk about defense. This table maps MITRE attack tactics to practical mitigations. For initial access, the attackers use stolen credentials or exposed application flows. Defend with strong AD configs, limited admin's rights, segmentation network, and restrict external access. For execution, they abuse tools like PowerShell and WMI. Use behavior-based EDR service, enforce code signing, block unauthorized scripts, and watch for unusual PowerShell activity. The next is for lateral movement. They rely on RDP, SMB, and WMI. Enforce the MFA, filtering internal traffic, and cut unnecessary service exposure. If the SMB had been restricted, the networking tool spread would have been limited. For impact, the attacker encrypts data and wipes backups. Defend with resilience, secure and isolated backups, regular testing, and verified recovery. Framing defenses this way help prioritize. Stop initial entry, catch suspicious execution, block the movement, and ensure recovery works. If earlier strategies focused on prevention, but this slide is about response. When ransomware hits, speed and precision here decide the overall impact. That this way, we use a structured framework with 4 phases. First, initial response. Stop the spread fast, disconnect storage and networks. Isolate systems, identify the strain, and alert the right people. The second step is impact assessment. Check not just encrypted file, but also system availability, lateral movement, and data leaks. Third, investigations. Analyze the system log and attack path to see how they got in, what privilege they gained, and which TTPS they used. The last thing is recovery and prevention. Reinstall system, restore clean backup service, and build resilience with recovery tools. The zero trust practice and regular training. In short, the ransomware response is not a one-time fix. Following these phases is key to reducing damage and improving readiness. So far, we've covered response attack first step, but in reality, technical recovery alone is often not enough. And many victims end up facing negotiation with attackers. The big question is negotiation ever the right choice? I think it remains debated across social, ethical, and policy circles. For example, the US CISA director said a full ban on ransom payments is unlikely to succeed. Meanwhile, the UK is pushing laws banning payments for public sector or critical infrastructure. In the US, states like North Carolina have passed their own restriction. This shows it is not a simple yes or no. The negotiation is a complex issue shaped by government, civil society, and the technical community. In the end, the key question is whether limiting ransom payments really builds resilience. The real goal should be making organizations strong enough to recover without pain. What matters is most stopping an attack before it starts. That is proactive defense. Today, Many organizations move beyond old layered security and shift toward identity-centric security. It is not just firewalls or antivirus, but blocking suspicious movement before attackers spread. Examples include network separation, EDR, XDR, and more, combined with threat intelligence. And microsegmentation is growing too, limiting damage to smallest unit. Catching misuse of legitimate tools like RMM software requires precise rules. And for example, ITDR solution now help detect abnormal identity behavior in real time. Zero trust architecture has become core. Access depends on who you are and what authority you have, not just on ID and password. Some countries push zero trust as policy, but even without that, adoption is moving fast. Additionally, regular pen testing and hardening backup systems that are isolated and recoverable. The key message is clear. One solution is not enough. You need layered defense, plus identity-centric approaches to build true resilience and stay ahead of ransomware. We have, as we have seen, organizations need a mix of solution and policies to stop intrusions. But why is proactive defense so important? This graph shows it clearly. On the left graph, about 69% of victims pay ransom. On the right graph, over half of them paid more than once. The meaning is simple. Once you pay, you are more likely to be targeted again by same group or another group. The idea of just pay and move on only makes you a bigger target. That is why strong defenses matter more than response alone. You need to stop attack early and avoid being seen as an easy repeat victim. Continuously, checks and improvements are very critical. Building proactive defenses is not optional. It is a most defense service for resilient security. Over the past few years, research into ransomware decryptors has really grown. Okay, give me a 5 minute, just 5 minutes. Over the past few years, research into ransomware decryptors has really grown. It is not only about recovery, but also giving victims a way to restore data without paying attackers. One key platform is No More Ransom, run by Europol and partners, hosting free tools for many families. Vendors worldwide release their own tools and in Korea, Kisa analyze samples and publish decryptors. And at SK Shoulders, we do something, analyze keys generation and crypto logic for groups like Key Group Ransomware and NoBit Ransomware. And releasing free tools when recovery is possible. Of course, not every ransomware can be decrypted. The modern crypto is strong, and without key, it's nearly impossible. But some families can be cracked when attackers make mistakes, reusing key or designing flaw encryption. From a robusting view, decryptor development is valuable. It shows us where attackers slip up, and those insights help both victim and future defenses. As we have seen, the ransomware ecosystem is changing fast. The big group are declining due to law enforcement, decreasing ransom payments rates, but the threat remains. New groups move faster, run short campaign, and rebrand often, making them harder to track. They also shift focus from encryption to data thief and extortion, using organized structures and obfuscation to hide. This change means our defense strategies move evolve too. The old playbooks are not enough. We need to analyze new tactics, monitor behavior, and design tailored countermeasure. Defense must go beyond detection. We need proactive measures to stop attack early, plus recovery and training to bounce back quickly. The path forward is not one-time fix. It is building a framework that is sustainable, adaptive, and resilient. Only then can we minimize damage and protect core assets against an evolving threat. The QR code on the screen links to our team's X account. Our team publishes monthly research on ransomware vulnerabilities and broader security trends, and is freely available on our website. In early October, we'll release a profiling report on a specific campaign since we discovered decryption vulnerabilities. We will also make a free decryption tool available. We look forward to your interest. Thank you for listening.